Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Cape Rugby TV, where we take a look on a weekly basis at what's happening in the world of Western Province Club Rugby. Big thanks to our partners on board with us, Score Energy Drinks. As you know, they're on board with Western Province Rugby and the Western Province Club Rugby Sevens, MChem 24-hour Pharmacy, and Thorburn Security Solutions. Folks, as you know, a lot of the clubs have started returning to training and doing so according to the health and safety protocols that have been issued, and of course only after certification by Western Province Rugby. But we'll be catching up tonight with some of the clubs that have managed to get back on the park. Jono, Walt, head coach at False Bay, will be up first. We'll be crossing to him in a second. John is going to tell us about their return to training and quite a little bit of talk there on injury prevention. Phil Cronje is head coach at Hamilton's Rugby Football Club, and Hamiltons have managed to get back on the park, and they've also been upgrading their facility behind the scenes. Dion Daniels is the COVID compliance officer at Rocklands, and he gives us a detailed explanation as to the COVID regulations that they're following at Rocklands Football Club and outreach project that they are busy with at Rocklands with Invisible Hands. And of course, adding to that, he's also going to tell us a little bit more about recruitment at Rocklands in terms of their junior structures. And then we'll speak to Christopher Andrews. He's back this week. He's of course assistant coach at Franschhoek Rugby Football Club. They sent us a video about the COVID protocols, so we'll take a look at Franschhoek's return to training. And then to sum it all up for us, we'll catch up with Jerome Parvater, head of high performance for clubs at Western Province Rugby. They've been doing quite a lot of work behind the scenes in terms of the COVID-19 education and return to training protocols, and Jerome will tell us a little bit more about that. Folks, don't forget, of course, during the course of the show, I'm going to give you an opportunity to win yourself a case of Score Energy Drinks. All right, Score Energy Drinks, that is up for grabs, together with a case of Bashoes. This is of course the triple hamper, and a set of Cape Rugby TV masks, courtesy of CTC Sports. There you see the banner behind me right now. That is the name that you're going to need to SMS to 33090. And that'll give you an opportunity to win a case of Score, a case of Bashoes, and a set of 24 masks, all up for grabs. On the line with me now, Jono, Walt, head coach at False Bay Rugby Football Club. Jono, great to have you back. How are you, man?
Hey, JP, how's it going, man? Lucky to be back. And I must say, it was very pleasant being back at our field. I mean, back at our club after almost 12 months of being on grass.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have managed to stay fit up to a point, but rugby training is a little bit different.
Yes, there's only so much running on the road, in the forest, on the beach, and training in a gym that you can do. But rugby is played on a rugby field, and it's played with rugby boots, and therefore the body needs a much different element of conditioning. And we're just very happy to kind of be back on the field.
So as we know, the Bay is always talking about the gees. It's all about the gees. How much difference was that coming back to training? I believe you guys came back on Thursday last week for the first time. How was that for the players?
Oh, JP, it was. I wouldn't even just say the players. I'd say coaches and spectators and just family members and everyone is just super happy, and it was quite nice looking across all of our fields, seeing groups of 6 and 7 players running around and doing their thing, and kind of just to be happy in boots and just having a laugh with some of their teammates, and some guys haven't seen each other in ages, we had certain squads at CrossFit at the gym, but many of the guys were just working and kind of keeping themselves busy.
And of course, if we just, Jono, I mean, over the last, let's say, year, it's been basically in a month's time, it'll have been a year since this lockdown, but you guys came straight out of the starting blocks a year ago, and you managed to maintain contact with the players. You kept them active either on Facebook or on Instagram or WhatsApp messages. And then of course, when the release came to do a little bit of outdoor activity, you guys carried on with some mountain training and so on. Did that help with you getting the guys sort of call to action to say, guys, come get down to the field at 6 o'clock?
Yeah, JP, again, I think for 9 months I've had probably a squad of about 40, 45 guys, and I I must say hats off to them. Through thick and through thin, these guys have come down once a week. They've kind of pretty much done whatever the coaches have told them within reason, but they've done it with a smile on their face, and they've gone through some dark places. And one of the things you always just said is that it doesn't matter when rugby comes back. When it does, we must make sure that we're fit enough to play. And if that first game comes, then I sure as I'll hope that our basic opposition have been training as hard as we have as well.
And the COVID side of things, I mean, we know that there are very strict regulations in place at the moment. Of course, the players have to factor this in. How was the first day coming back in terms of all of the protocols, filling in the forms and the sanitization and that? Or was it just a question of let's get past it and do a bit of exercise?
It was easier than I thought it would have been, probably because we've all been so used to sanitizing and wearing masks for a year already. So it would be very different if we were last year, April, May, straight after lockdown and came in, it would have been a bit strange. But the fact that we've all been kind of used to this so-called way of living for the last 12 months made things very easy. Everyone comes along, nobody's handshaking, sitting in small huddles or doing whatever they're doing. Everyone's kind of very aware about social distancing. Of course, once we get to the fields, the players have their masks off, but all the coaches have their masks on. Guys sanitize before, during, and after practice, and then the guys are off. So to be quite honest, it's kind of how we've dealt with things whenever we've trained outdoors as well. So there hasn't been a big change, I must say. There is maybe a slight, it's a bit admin intensive for all the paperwork and the forms that we have to fill in. But once you put that aside, to be quite honest, it's just rugby guys doing their thing on the field.
A couple of squads came back on Thursday, Jono, and also you've got quite a couple of departments at the Bay. One of them being your women's rugby side. That looks like there's a bit of momentum going. I know we last year spoke to Zoe Nudia, and you've got quite an active program there.
Yes, we were actually quite shocked. You know, we have this place obviously between the two fields, and we call it the Cabbage Patch. Funny enough, it's called the Cabbage Patch, but it's got the best grass on both the fields. But the ladies, that's kind of, they put up base. And when we looked across, they had about 10 or 12 ladies, and they were doing their thing. And at the end of it, looked like they got a nice sweat going. So again, it was just nice to look across our field and see ladies, seeing the second, third squad, and seeing the under 20 start up as well as the first team squad down there. So very, very positive, and again, very happy that we're on the field.
From a fitness point of view then, Jono, if we now actually talk about the actual activity, you guys, we know that False Bay has made a big name for itself with promoting the CrossFit structures, and you guys have been very active with CrossFit. That, of course, puts you in that space of being able to be active, but not necessarily according to the rugby regulations where you're on the field. You're in someone else's environment. How are the guys looking from a strength point of view? The backs, the forwards, the management?
Yeah, I think you actually laugh. The management, some of them might even come out of retirement because they're looking so fit at the moment. Again, I think the players' strength numbers are up, because normally in a rugby season, you know, you have off season and a pre-season, and guys will do a little bit of strength work, but that kind of starts to move away once we get into rugby season. So the guys are looking very, very strong at the moment. Above all, they're moving very nicely. They're well balanced. They're kind of almost looking like athletes again. And now comes a test where we can put it all onto the field. So we just have some very small concerns about some soft tissue injuries. So we're very wary about hamstrings, groins, calf muscles, and all the rest. So we won't be hitting the field running hard, but we'll definitely use the next 3 to 4 weeks and just ease into it, just to be happy, like kind of running on our boots on the field. But we won't be pushing and trying to like maybe headhunt and kind of go hell for leather. It's definitely going to be a nice meticulous approach this year.
That's great stuff, Jono. It's great stuff. We know that things are not easy. We know that the COVID regulations are still in place, and that things are going to be like that, at least until further notice. But it's great to hear that the guys are able to put their boots on and well, at least see each other, even if it's just through the mask.
Yeah, again, and just by having a look kind of on Friday and through the weekend at kind of all of the social media from all the other clubs, it seems like guys are very hungry and guys want to train, and all they need is hopefully that everything eases up in terms of actually COVID itself, because we know that we almost become a little bit biased because it's our sport and it's rugby, and we just want rugby to continue. But we have to understand that there's a lot, obviously something bigger at play there. But at the same time, we also do need to move on with our lives, and let's just make sure, again, like always, we keep healthy, we stay fit, and that should any of us do get sick, that hopefully we're strong enough to fight it. And that's kind of maybe the motto that we're going in with is just to say that our lives can't come to an end. We still have to get up every day. We have to go work. And if we can play a sport after work, well, that'll be great.
Jono, we'll leave it at that. Always positive from you. We'll catch up again soon.
Lekker, JP. Thanks, man.
There we go, folks. Jono van der Walt, head coach of False Bay Rugby, or director, head coach, False Bay Rugby Football Club. Always great to see how positive the Bay is. Great to see that another club has made the migration towards training. Of course, all happening according to those regulations at the moment. But yep, certainly if there's one team that's going to bring the gears, it's False Bay. Folks, we'll take an ad break. When we come back from the break, we'll carry on talking about club rugby. Back in a sec.